So I'm going to a local toy convention. I've never actually been to a toy convention before, as far as I know. I've been to anime and comic conventions, so this will be my first toy convention. This is also a local toy convention. Admission is only $5, and it's at their local high school, so I don't know what to expect. So we might find some good deals or not. I'm really only familiar with the Marvel Legends stuff, the DC Multiverse, and some NECA stuff, so I'll have a better idea if what people are selling are good prices or not. Otherwise, let's see what we find.
All right, so how did I actually do at the convention in terms of getting deals or not? We're gonna take a look at some clips of what I recorded. I wasn't really sure how to do this, so I was a little shy in recording stuff. So on the next one, which will hopefully be this weekend, I will do a better job of recording stuff. But let's see what we have, and I'll go through some of the deals that I got. So this first one that I'm showing you is actually like the very first booth that I saw like at the entrance. And the reason why I liked it actually is because some of the prices on the Legends were pretty fair, I feel like. They were listed at 20 for some of them. And I specifically asked about Extremis, Iron Man, and then I saw two other figures as well that I was interested in. I think one of them was maybe a Walgreens exclusive, and then another one I think was Mr. Knight. And so I asked how much it would be. The guy called over his boss or whoever was the actual owner of the booth, and they said that it would be, I think he said that one of the figures was 30, another was 30, and then another was 20. And so that was 80, but then he said he'd be willing to do it for like 70. And that pricing isn't too bad, but for where I prefer to try to purchase figures at in terms of pricing, that wasn't quite where I wanted to be. I was hoping for like a sub 20. Sub 20 to me is a pretty good place to be with getting pricing for Legends. So I passed, and that was that. So this one I liked because it's showing the Super 7 Thundercats figures, and this guy has them priced at $50 each, which I think is actually pretty good because I think that's about how much they are at retail, or even if they're a little bit more than that, like it's not that much more. So I thought that was actually really fair pricing. Got to see a bunch of Power Ranger stuff, which was fun. And then the other side had a whole Sentinel. I couldn't see the pricing on it, although I did try seeing, but I didn't also want to ask because I didn't want anybody to start trying to see if I wanted to actually buy anything. The Legends that they had here were actually pretty reasonably priced too, so I was pretty happy to see that. A big old Chucky doll, a giant Doctor Strange, which looked really cool. So this one is just meant to be a shot of kind of the whole area. So this was their school's gym, and it's a pretty decent size. It was a $5 entry, so I didn't think too much of it. I thought it was okay. It seemed like I was gonna be there for 10 or 15 minutes, but then somebody said that they actually have expanded and had another whole section in a different building, and so that's where we went to next. And then I wanted to show this before I left, just because these were really neat. These were like, there was like a KFC one, I think another one was another fast food joint, and some other just neat stuff. But then the Thunder Tank is really cool, and I would love to get that, but I think at retail that thing was like $500. So obviously I didn't get that. It's super huge, but really neat. And I also read some complaints about people saying that it's actually not to scale because you can't get as many Thundercats in there as the actual cartoon version, but whatever. I'm not getting it, so here we are. And so before the next clip, I want to get into the actual first deal that I got. So I didn't record or take any pictures of this one that I did, but I found a guy who had a bunch of Michael Keaton 1989 Batman stuff, which kind of first caught my attention. And then I saw a bunch of Beast Wars stuff in there too. And then I saw this, and I thought this was super cool. What was really nice about the guy was that he was saying that everything had a price, and this one he had at 50, but he was explaining very specifically that he was putting the price that he last saw on eBay for what it sold for, and that he was gonna sell it for less than that. So for this one, it was marked at 50, and he said that he'd sell it to me for 35. So that's how much I got it for. This one I thought would be cool to have because I am familiar with the movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but Michelle Yeoh is doing really, really well, and is really in the news for a lot of stuff lately. And I just thought it'd be cool to have an action figure of her, since we don't have one from the Legends line, even though Hasbro could make one. But here we are. So, and how well did I actually do on the figure itself? So had I looked it up at the time before actually paying the guy for it, I would have found a listing on eBay for $18 buy now with a $15.60 shipping cost. So that actually brings it under the $35 price that I paid. However, if I paid in cash, which I did, then I wouldn't have to pay tax, since, you know, when it's like a local thing like that, nobody's really reporting their stuff. Don't come after me, IRS. Otherwise, last one sold on April 8th for $20 and $17 shipping. So overall, I did reasonably well getting this. The nice thing is that, you know, I got to see it in person, got to see how good in shape it was or wasn't, and was able to help somebody, because the guy selling it wasn't just like a shop or anything. It was just a guy trying to get rid of some of his old collection that he wasn't really wanting to have anymore. So it was cool for that reason. All right, so next clip, this was the larger area that they had stuff in, and I was pretty blown away with how big that this one was, because this is basically two of the last room put together. So this first booth was really cool. It was really just right next to the door, and the pricing that this guy had was great. And it actually turned out that he was saying that this is his personal collection that he's just selling off, even though he actually is still collecting other lines. And he also, I think, has a store but doesn't sell this kind of stuff at a store. So he had a lot of great stuff at a reasonable price. And I didn't get this until the end, but in the clip you saw an $80 3-pack, and that's what I got. So I've been wanting Ms. Marvel slash Warbird, depending on what you want to call her, for quite some time. I didn't really like the pricing that I saw on eBay, so to me, getting all three for $80 was a solid deal. I'm fairly confident that at retail, this thing was $60 brand new, since at the time, each figure was $20, and they generally priced them at about the number of figures, so that would have been $60. So how well did I actually do on it? So on eBay, looking at it right now, the last two ones that sold sealed in box, one was 115 bucks, another was 104.50 plus $12 shipping. The next one down was a best offer accepted, but the starting was at $99. So for 80 bucks for the three, I did stellar. But let's see how much it would have cost me had I just done Ms. Marvel on her own. So the last one sold loose, sold for $57.50. Before that was $84.99, $84.99, $80 plus 5 shipping. So I did great with this pack. I could potentially resell the other two and make the cost of Ms. Marvel herself that much cheaper. But I think I don't have either of these two. I'll have to double check what I have. So I might end up just keeping them anyway. So this next clip I'm showing is just because I really thought that Spider-Man Green Goblin painting picture looked super, super cool. But just here's another shot of kind of what people's booths looked like. And it was really a mix of people that had actual like stores that they were just here just continuing to promote themselves and sell their stuff, and people that just have collections of stuff that they're just trying to sell. So I didn't realize that there were people that were going to be able to just go there and sell their stuff. That actually is kind of interesting to me, and I might do that myself. I still have plenty of things that I'm trying to get rid of. So if you've never considered doing that, then maybe check out your own local conventions. So close to where I filmed that clip, there was a guy that had the Nun from The Conjuring, and I like horror movies. I have some horror figures. I have the Annabelle NECA figure, which is like this big. It comes in a glass case. It's hilarious. But this one, he said, was 30 and said that he took 25. But what was great was that we brought our cats with us, and they're tiny, they're kittens, they're super cute. And so he saw the cat and he thought she was super cute, and he said, but I'll do 20 for you. So I was like, deal, that's perfect. Definitely well worth the cost. So on eBay, the Nun is going for at best $14.99 plus $7 shipping, $22.99. So for getting 20 bucks brand new sealed, I think I did pretty good with this one. All right, so this clip was a guy that had, as you can see, a ton of Hot Wheels. And what I didn't realize is how many collectors are out there that are really just collecting Hot Wheels, because a lot of booths were just Hot Wheels. I was really blown away by that. If you're out there and you are a collector of Hot Wheels, then let me know, because I'd be interested. I have just a couple, just because like I have this one. I think I might have a Batmobile somewhere, but I don't really collect a whole lot of Hot Wheels. Not that I'm knocking it, I'm just kind of surprised, to be honest. But yeah, so if you like Hot Wheels, then this would have been a great place to go to find more Hot Wheels. After that, I kind of just forgot to record more stuff. I have at least one more clip I could show, but I ended up finding a guy that had 2 of these, and this was really interesting. Obviously, being Asian, I'm very familiar with who Bruce Lee is, and growing up, obviously was one of the only Asian stars that, you know, people were familiar with and knew of. So seeing this was really neat. I'm familiar with the Medicom brand just as far as knowing that it exists, and most of the stuff are 12-inch figures. I mostly am aware of them because of Kamen Rider. Not that I have any, but just that's how I know of it. So I asked how much, and he said it would be $110. He had 2 of them, and even though he said it would be $110, he said, but make me an offer. And I said, okay, well, I'll think about it. And I left just because I wanted to kind of see everything else. And I saw everything else, and I came back around and kind of went back and forth with him a little bit, just kind of asking him questions about it to see if, because he had 2, I thought maybe he had 3 at some point. Maybe he opened 1 to keep it, because I was asking, you know, how it poses. But as far as I know, I think he just kind of bought the 2. I don't think he had ever actually opened any. In any case, I offered him 70, but he said he would take 80. I accepted that, and I got it. So how did I do? So there are a couple different ones from this line on eBay. Some of them actually look really cool, and I kind of wish I would have seen one of these other ones, but none of this one in particular that has sold. So we'll look at unsold. So on eBay right now, the cheapest one of these in this particular outfit, I would be able to get for $75. Free shipping. That would also mean I would need to pay tax because it is eBay. But this one was 80 bucks in person. So I still think it ended up being a pretty good deal overall, especially because I was able to just kind of, you know, chat with somebody about it, and it was just fun. And then the last thing I got was Sentry. So I honestly couldn't remember if I had Sentry or not. I'm pretty sure I have them now. I do remember thinking about, like, I knew I didn't have Moonstone, who is a Walgreens exclusive, and Sentry's is a Walgreens exclusive. So I think in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, I need to get the Walgreens exclusive. And I saw this one, and the guy was selling it for 15. Everybody else was selling it for like 20. So I went ahead and got it. So like I said, I'm pretty sure that this is a duplicate now. If it isn't, great. If it is, it's still a great figure. I'm not upset about that, but there were several other vendors that had some interesting stuff. There was some Mezco out there, which was cool to see now that I'm more familiar with it than I was before. I tried getting the McFarlane Batman Adam West version and Robin. The person wanted 20 each. I asked for 30. They said no, so I left that at that. So, and for me, it's not that I think 40 was a bad deal. I think for me, I just tried to get a better deal. That way it's easier for me to pass on it mentally, so I'm not collecting too much, even though you already see how much I already have. So I have to try to limit myself in some kind of way, right? And then our last clip is that 360 that I said that I would do. So big old gym. You can see it was like 3 rows of vendors in the middle, and then the whole surrounding edge was full of vendors too. So it was super fun. There was one guy who had just several bins of old figure, like larger figure parts. And so I saw a Batman Forever Batwing, at least the center part, and because I had this one as a kid. So there was that, and then there was another piece that goes inside of it, but he didn't have the wings, and it was really dusty and really kind of grimy, so I didn't want to dig too much further into his bins. Otherwise, I would have seriously considered getting that. But yeah, overall, I think that went really well. Like I said, $5 entrance fee, which was really not that big a deal. Other places will do even more than that. I went to a foodie festival the other day that was 15 bucks for parking, and then somebody else paid for my ticket to get inside. So that's quite a bit more. So $5 is not that unreasonable for what you're able to get. Like I said, I am going to another one this coming weekend. I believe it's a San Jose Toy Show or something along those lines in terms of name. So I will do another recording there, and hopefully I get some really cool deals there too. And otherwise, you should check out my room tour video that I just posted right over here.